was great. It seems like, content. I mean, we've been talking content forever.
Yes.
But it really seems like content now has really taken the driver's seat, and so many marketing and advertising strategies now are shifting significantly because of how content now rules the world. There are two types. There's probably more types, but I can think of two primary types. Your branded type of content, which is the stuff that Robert creates. You go and you hire him, and he creates content for you, specifically for your organization based on your needs. And then there's the curated content, right? What I would consider to be more of the expert type content, where you go out and you find stuff that is trending, for example, that is getting a lot of response, a lot of feedback, and you share that, and you sort of incorporate that into your strategy. And it seems like those two methods, I mean, the videos, the white papers, all these things are really becoming more popular now than traditional advertising.
Well, even on media platforms, this is what news is. News is curated news. What people don't understand is these reporters that go out, like CNN, they have them all out there, but they pull the information from all of them and then present it in one swoop. The problem with the news media now, though, is that everyone's getting it on their Twitter and on their Facebook. So it's not like people are getting away from news. I actually have been seeing a pickup because have you noticed on Facebook there's more news articles posted on people's timelines? Like, they're starting to even get away from what they ate, what they feel. Now I'm starting to see like opinions on stories.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. My wife still subscribes. So we still get the print edition of the Los Angeles Times at home.
Okay.
But I can't tell you the last time I actually read it. But she still sits on the couch every night. She sits on the couch every night and goes through now she's an old school journalist.
Right.
So
she can appreciate it.
Yeah, so I think you're going to have to pry the newspaper from her cold, dead hands. But, I can't tell you the last time I read a newspaper, because I get all my news now on places like Facebook, The Patch, Twitter, and because it is, I've been keeping up with Ferguson and everything that's been going on through my Twitter feed. And so, there has been a significant shift, and a lot of it now is done on my mobile phone. And so it's very, very, very seldom that I actually sit down at my laptop and read the news, because I'm reading it throughout the day. When I have these down moments, I get on there and I read an article or two, and I feel like I'm being productive. And so everything is moving to mobile. So speaking of mobile, then this is a great segment we have. I know you're going to love this. We have on the phone David Sistilli. David is a creative director of AppetiteApp.com. David, welcome to Money Talk.
David.
Hello, David. You
Hello.
Hi, David.
Hey, sorry, I'm
welcome
still
to
here.
Money Talk, David.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited. It wasn't that long ago that we heard about the launch of this whole Apple Pay, and as well as, I was recently at a Starbucks, and one of my friends was paying for his coffee, and he pulled out his phone and he showed them this particular app, which I wasn't aware of. And and so it seems, everything that we're doing, whether we're paying for things or getting credit for buying things, is now driven by our mobile phones.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I personally, I love it. I expected it to take off a little quicker than it did, but I guess the whole NFC thing messed things up. And now that Apple has NFC on their new phone, I mean, it seems to be picking up quicker and quicker and quicker. And that's just it. Like, you see people paying for it, and you're like, what are they doing there? There's something that I don't know here. Maybe they're getting points or rewards that I'm not really getting. It's kind of like I want to be part of that, right? So,
absolutely. And so you all at Appetite App have something going on. Do you mind sharing it with our listeners?
Other than an appetite.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Appetite is basically a mobile payment and loyalty platform. So we are basically running it for quite a number of multinational brands, Yogan Cruz Yogurty, Freshie, and a number of other ones. So we've been doing it for about 3 years, and like you said, like we got started by seeing Starbucks apps succeed, and basically, we went to our first client, which was Freshie, built out their program for them, and we thought, this is pretty successful, and maybe we have something here. So we took that and started to build upon what we had, like normal entrepreneurs would when you think you have something successful. And then we started offering more brands. And now we've got to the point where we've seen the success of the program, and we thought, well, now that all these large brands can afford to do it, like, why can't we offer solutions to independent merchants as well? So that's what we're going to actually be launching in Q1 of next year. We're super excited about that because I think it'll have a lot of traction.
Let's talk about some of that success and more importantly, why us. I mean, it sounds obvious that a small business would want to do it, but sometimes there is required a little bit of education of why this is important. But can you talk a little bit about the success that you've had that was, even surprising to yourself by some companies using these apps?
Yeah, I mean, for one, there's a lot of stats out there, but based on our system, we've noticed that people that are using our platform are actually spending more on every single bill. And that's where the loyalty component comes in. So, some of our customers are experiencing 84% higher bill size, which is pretty significant when you think about it, right?
84? Did you say 84%?
Yeah. Even when I put those numbers together, I was like, whoa.
Any idea what that's attributed to?
Well, I think, I'd like to say that it's the combination of loyalty and payment together, because when you have just payments alone, I mean, we've experienced it as well, when you launch just payments alone, there's no real incentive for a user to start using it. It's really, really cool, and you can see people paying with the phone like, oh, that's kind of nifty, like, and want to try that, but there's no real reason for them to go start loading up money on their phone. And then when you combine that with loyalty, though, it's like, okay, well, if I start to pay with my phone, I'm going to get points, which I'm going to get rewards, and I get freebies, and then it becomes almost like a game. Like, you can see, I don't know if you've tried the Starbucks app, you see how easy it is to load money on your phone. It's almost like a game, I can compare it, right? Yeah, it's way too easy. You don't really feel that, right?
I have to share a personal experience on that. I was at a retail store, CVS, and we were waiting in line. And he said, as people were waiting in line, the store manager said, if you guys go over to this kiosk right next to you and scan your card, you'll get free, what do you call it? Not toilet paper, but the paper towels. You get free paper towels. And everybody, all of a sudden, like, they didn't care about having to wait in line. And then what I saw was a very interesting thing happen. People started shopping a little bit more because they thought, well, I just saved money on something that, by the way, they weren't even there for. But because they got something free, they felt somehow empowered to spend more. And I thought, wow, what a smart idea.
Yeah.
It is. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the, and these loyalty programs obviously have been around for a while, but I'll share then a personal experience that I had yesterday. At my supermarket, I have the loyalty card, and what they've done recently is they have gone into a joint venture with one of the big gas companies, the fuel companies out here. And so whenever I spend money at the supermarket, I actually get points towards my gas. And so, and then along the way, now they know exactly the brand of butter I use. They know all these other things. So, can you sort of, so it's one thing for the consumer to get the benefits, and that's all good and great. But let's kind of shift to the business side. What kind of information are you seeing these businesses gather, and what are the analytics doing for them to increase their business?
Right, you're exactly right. I mean, the biggest thing is that, and that's another thing why, payment alone doesn't really quite work. I mean, when you give your customers some sort of points or loyalty and you're like, oh, come here and you can get free paper towel, or, buy a couple things and we'll sign up for our loyalty program, and, we'll give you free coffee or whatever the deal may be. Like, you're more likely to get information, and so the information that you're going to get from them, could be address, could be name, if you're tracking what they're buying. The information is almost, one might say, from a user's perspective, it might be scary. But at the end of the day, if you're getting something of value from that brand and you like and trust that brand, then it's not so scary. So what we're getting in our system is basically, transaction history, information about the user. We're pretty, obviously, like, that stuff is all confidential and stuff. So, but what you can do with that information is that, sorry, go ahead.
No, you have a lot of information to your disposal, and information is important for a small business owner, which are counting their change and expenditures. Now, I have to say some of the tweets that you guys have been actually tweeting, I'm really interested on, because there's some very good statistics here. Over 60% of millennials are willing to switch the brands they buy from for a better loyalty program. That was one tweet that you guys did. Another one which actually caught my attention was this one. Where is it out? Nearly 80% of consumers agree that digital coupons close the deal for them when undecided on a purchase. Can you speak to those numbers?
Yeah, so that's the thing too. A lot of it's like location-based stuff is huge nowadays. It's almost like it's just as big as like mobile payment and stuff, right? So when you have, just as you gave that CVS example, when you have someone in the store and you can have the ability to push notify them right in the store, right on their phone, right when they're about to purchase something, that's huge, right? And that's what we're offering to our clients. And you can't really do that any other way without having a mobile phone, right? And so,
that's true. I'm going to. This is so funny you mentioned this. So I'm going to share this story, and this might be a new product you offer. So I was on Sunday. On Sunday, I was fulfilling my duties by working my way down the honeydew list, and my wife sent me and my daughters to one of the big box retailers, and she had given me a list of a number of things. Now, after we do the shopping, and I normally do it on Sundays.
Me too.
Usually a good husband, I might say.
Well, and I'll usually get a couple slices of pizzas for the kids for lunch, and then they'll cut them down and because they love to take.
What a good dad!
Well, here's what happened on Sunday. So as we're in line to get the pizza, one of my daughters says, "Hey, Dad, I'm hungry. Can you get me a hot dog?" And so I said, "Yeah, sure." So I got her a hot dog, and in so doing, I completely forgot about the pizza. Well, how great would it have been if the system, this is where the company knowing about my purchasing habits would actually have helped. How great would it have been is if as I was walking to my car, I got a text message or something from the company saying, "Hey, by the way, you didn't buy pizza like you do 99% of the time. Do you need pizza? Do you need to head back?" And had it done that, I would have gone back. I would realize I forgot the pizza, and I would have saved the scolding that I received from my wife on Sunday for completely forgetting the pizza. So, so while consumers might think of it as scary, I got to tell you, sometimes I sit on the flip side. I say, I could really use someone gathering this information and sort of reminding me when I forget things.
Every wife will sign up their husband for that program.
That's exactly it. And imagine if, you forgot to buy your pizza. They said, "You know what? Hey, maybe this guy doesn't want to buy pizza from us anymore. Maybe we'll give him 10% off." You would have been even more happier, right? So that's the kind of thing you can do with a system like this, right? And it becomes, you're right, it becomes pretty powerful.
So now let's talk a little bit. We've got about 10 more minutes here. This whole concept of mobile wallets. So you guys offer the mobile loyalty and the mobile payment. I remember years ago when Google came out with the idea of a mobile wallet. And then it seemed like the idea kind of died on the vine. And then it seems like, Aaron, maybe a year ago we started hearing more buzz out of Google over their wallet?
Yeah, Google now, Apple.
And maybe that's why. I suspect Google probably heard about Apple developing its program.
Yeah, there's all these rumors going on.
So David, can you sort of, for the layman out there listening, can you sort of describe to us what these mobile payment systems essentially are and how they work?
And I have to add to that, sometimes it's discovery.
Mhm.
It's because it takes a while for the consumer to catch on and use it.
It
Now that
does.
they're used to using these apps, it's kind of like it's second nature now. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think the biggest thing is it does take a while. Like, we're not just dealing with, sign up for this app and, you can share pictures with us. Like, we're dealing with something a little more intense. Like, we're talking about payments here, right? So it's not really like every user is like, oh, where can I add my credit card here? Where can I add my debit card there? It's still a very, untraveled territory, if I could call it that, for a lot of people. But I guess, like, in terms of Google Wallets, I mean, yeah, they were probably one of the first to do it. I'm not talking about Starbucks, obviously. But I think the reason why they didn't do so well is just that. I mean, it's going to take a while for, mass majority of consumers to catch on. There's so many. I mean, in this industry, I'll give you some background info. There's so many issues or challenges to kind of overcome to kind of get it accepted everywhere as well. I mean, there's POS providers. You got to integrate with them or find a solution where you don't need to. There's payment providers. There's, I can go on forever.
Yeah.
You go into these stores and you see like how it works, right? They're not even equipped to accept payments off the phone.
And that's
You know
a
what I
great
mean?
point, because I remember when that whole tap and go concept sort of started going off the ground. McDonald's had to go out and buy hundreds of thousands of these units, where their franchisees did, and that was an expensive, depending on how many of those units they needed, several $100s per unit. And so when you talk about the mom and pop, they don't necessarily have the budget, nor do they have the desire to go and spend a few $100 if they don't need to.
That's right, and especially if they're not, like you said before, right? If they're not educated, they don't really understand why just yet they would even want to do that. Even if they did have $700, luckily lying around.
Yeah. Here's my question. You said you were going to make this available for small businesses. How large should my business be before I look at this app, and how easy is it to implement using your system?
Well, we've kind of got it down to science, I think.
And
obviously we're still doing some final. Oh, of course. I mean, obviously we're launching in Q1, but basically doing a whole bunch of testing. But basically, our goal is to be able to sign someone up within 20 minutes. So whether a salesperson would walk in there, what we have is an appetite receiver. So we've gone away from the POS. We've done a lot of integration for some of our larger brands, but even that is costing on its own, right? So for a small brand, they probably wouldn't be able to afford for us to integrate their POS. So we've tried to go past that. We have our own appetite receiver in which we just integrate right at their, wherever their counter is or wherever their terminal is, wherever the best place is, and they can accept payments, administer loyalty, do deals, everything right from that little receiver.
And so is that receiver, is that sort of a scanner of sorts, like a, sort of what Starbucks had, or a QC type of scanner that scans the image that you present on your phone?
That's right, yeah. So the user would have their own, the Appetite app, and then they have this merchant scanner in which they would just punch in the amount, or punch in, if they're just doing loyalty, they punch in the amount of loyalty points, user scans their phone, and done. So the process actually takes less than 5 seconds, right? But we tried to, like I said, to get it down to science to kind of make integration as easy as possible, and also, keep the cost down as low as possible so that independents can afford it, right? And they can actually offer something that's, puts them at par with these large brands, right?
Right. So now from the consumer side, is this app, does it just work for each retailer or each business, or can you use one wallet, let's say one mobile payment type across everyone that you have subscribed in your network?
Yeah, so that was our goal too at the beginning. We're like, well, we can't just create an app for one brand, an app for another brand. We're actually making it a bit more difficult on the user, right? So part of Appetite is that you have one login, you register your payment credentials one time, and then wherever you go, you have your account. So you log in, you can call it similar to Google Wallet, right? You log it in once, and you can use your Appetite card or, get loyalty anywhere you go on the network. So any merchant or large retailer that has Appetite, you'd be able to use that account for.
And do the consumers load value onto into this wallet or into this mechanism, or does it do you register a credit card or a debit card and it takes it from there?
So you have to register a card first. So, and to be honest, that is the toughest part in any wallet. Getting a user to link a credit card, debit card, whatever it is, right? But once you do that, it becomes a lot easier. Once you convince them to do that, it's and they start using it, they're like, oh, wow, this is awesome. But yeah, what you have to do is you link a credit card, debit card, and then you can simply load dollar amount anytime you want within seconds, similar to what you saw at Starbucks, right?
Yeah. And so then for the business owner, then that becomes an Appetite app customer, you provide, they're able to, or you provide them access to analytics to see, when their customers are coming in, how much they're spending per ticket, on.
Exactly.
They have access to all of that stuff?
Yeah, so every single one of the businesses gets access to the Appetite dashboard, and they can see, statistics on the program, spending trends, patterns, and what we do is try to organize it in a way that they can actually use it. So then we have marketing campaigns. They can send push notification campaigns. So let's say, what we've done with one of our clients was they knew their slow time is between 2 and 5, right? And so they can put a campaign together that would push notify their users, come between 2 and 5 today, and we'll give you double the points. That's what they did. They could have done 50% off, whatever they wanted to do, right, depending on the business, right? And what we've noticed with that is, we've seen a significant increase in transactions. One of our clients actually got a 300% increase in their transaction volume that day. And so, again, you were talking about stats that were, kind of wowed us. We're like, whoa, I think we really have something here.
Yeah, that's exciting because business owners, at least a small, when we talk about Walmart and the big ones that have kind of dominated and put out other businesses, I think this is giving the small business that incorporates it an advantage now over what they used to have, and it seems like it's done pretty simply with your app.
Yeah, you can look at it that way, because at the end of the day, with a small business or an independent business, there's usually one owner that, would control everything. Obviously, some are different than others, but, he or she can quickly log in, schedule a campaign, and boom, it's out. Whereas, some larger companies, they have different approval processes, and if they're going to send a marketing message out, obviously it takes a lot longer.
Yeah. So David, if people want to learn more about the Appetite app, where should they go?
Definitely check out www.appetiteapp.com. Or they can simply email me myself, david@appetiteapp.com.
Perfect. Well, David Sistilli, Creative Director of Appetite App, thank you for joining us on Money Talk this afternoon.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
And don't forget to follow us at Aaron M. Sanchez and J.S. Torres.
And join us again next Wednesday, 4 p.m. for another edition of Money Talk. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone, and we will be speaking next Wednesday. Money.